What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I am way late on this recap of the 5th episode of Love After Lockup, so I'm going to go through it as quickly as possible so that I can have a recap of this past Friday's episode up tomorrow, okay? So let's jump into it. First, we start off with Andrea, who goes out with her friend Michelle back home in Utah to discuss meeting Lamar in Los Angeles. Her friend co-signs her being childish enough to leave just because his baby mama's someone he had sex with in the past, and I was really embarrassed for two grown-ass women thinking that it's okay to just refuse to meet someone's child just because he had them with another woman, especially considering the fact that Andrea already knew when she started hooking up with Lamar and writing to, him on prisonpenpal.com that he did have a child from a previous relationship. It's just absolutely ridiculous how childish Andrea is, and sad that she's got friends who are just as childish as she is, and creates like this sort of echo chamber where something like this is actually acceptable to a grown-ass woman. She then exaggerates her fight with Lamar that happened in the parking lot the last episode, and she claims that Lamar was a second away from knocking her out, and her friend tells her that those are red flags, and Andrea comes off as desperate enough to ignore like the possibility of domestic abuse. But we know as viewers that the reason that she's not going to take heed of these alleged red flags is because she was making the whole entire thing up. Now, moving along, we see a clip of her and Lamar talking about the fight, and he tells her that she can't be pissed because he does everything for her and is loyal and hasn't cheated once. And it's kind of like, Lamar, you've been locked up for nearly 20 years, and ever since you've gotten out, Andrea has not let you out of her sight. So it's kind of like you're only bragging about the fact that you weren't butt buddies with someone in prison. And second of all, I think by Andrea's definition, you have cheated on her and been disloyal. Remember the car wash lady when she handed you your change back? That was a form of cheating, my friend. And then he also claims that he treats Andrea like a queen, which is, again, laughable considering he's been in jail like their whole entire relationship minus the past week, and I don't think he's done anything for her since getting out. In fact, she's the one who bought his ass a car. So how is she being treated like a queen? Queens aren't out here spending their the money that they should be putting away for their children in college on their boyfriend having a car. It just makes no sense whatsoever. So Andrea keeps mentioning his prison mentality, and it's crazy that she mentions that his prison mentality makes her nervous, considering the fact that she is implying that he's a violent person, when she subsequently is all right with this being around her children. Absolutely crazy. Now, Lamar is next up at his friend's home talking about his plans to go to Utah to meet Andrea's kids against the rules of his parole. He says that his parole officer can arrest him and send him back to jail for 1.5 years, but whatever. You guys, his friend looked visibly shaken by the fact that Lamar is willing to potentially get him in trouble, because I'm pretty sure when someone is on parole and you choose to let them live in your house, you're kind of at least somewhat responsible for them. So I think his friend realized that he made a massive mistake letting someone like this live at his house while on parole, considering the fact that Lamar is probably going to end up back in jail. He asked Lamar why he's being so stupid, and Lamar says that he's willing to risk it all because he's tired of breaking bad news to Andrea. And it's kind of like, well, I'm pretty sure it's going to be worse news, you going back to jail after meeting her kids, than her having to explain to them why they have to wait a little bit longer in order to meet you. It just is crazy, crazy, crazy to me. Now, Alla is claiming to be throwing up at a gas station, but if you look really closely, she pulled something out from like her pocket and threw it in the trash before James came to pick her up. She claims that she had a fever, but guys, she looked high as a damn kite, and it was just crazy how she could not string together a single coherent sentence to save her life, and she just looked like a complete mess. So once they were in James's car, she claims that she could be pregnant, and in her talking head, she's like, I'm ready for this next stage of my life. And again, even in this talking head, she seemed high as a damn kite, and it is so sad that she is willing to bring kids who deserve so much better into the world as a drug addict. Now, Tony calls Angela, claiming not to know why he didn't get released from prison, but it seems like he's a little bit off and conniving in this scene. I wasn't really convinced that he was still in jail for some weird reason. Like, he just seems so shady, Angela then asks him if he's catfishing her, and he takes a long pause, like pretty much choking back laughter before he answers no. And then as they're about to hang up the phone on their conversation, he asks her for more money again, and she tells him that she's got him. And it's just so pathetic how desperate this woman is when it's clear as day that this man is not the slightest bit attracted to her and is 100% about his money. Next up, Mary surprises Dom with a trip to the tuxedo shop, and he's upset and claims that he's not supposed to make surprise stops like this because he's supposed to be giving his parole officer a daily itinerary. So he really is grouchy throughout the entire process, and Mary makes it worse. You know, he tries on his first tux and she's like, wow, this looks better than what you've been wearing in prison. And he's like, obviously, he seems embarrassed that she feels the need to just tell any and everybody that this guy, you know, just got out of jail. And it's crazy. This seems to be like a badge of honor that these women wear because they are so open about it. I mean, if I were with a convict, God forbid, I would not tell a single soul about it, and definitely not, you know, someone who's helping me choose out something for my wedding. They have to cut their time at the tuck shop short when Dom seems absolutely extremely irritated with Mary for, first of all, setting this up without his permission and just acting a damn fool in front of everybody at the place, talking about his like criminal status. And you guys, he just seems so like empty, like a shell of a person. I feel like he experienced some hardcore victimization while in prison, and I just, you know, I just always feel so like sad and eerie whenever he comes on screen. Next up, Garrett heads over to a jeweler to pick out an engagement ring for Johnna and can't even properly explain what it is that he loves about her when the jeweler asks him. The jeweler then asks, well, how did you meet her? And he explains that he met Johnna because she just kept incessantly writing him while he was in prison, and he eventually caved and started writing her back. And the jeweler is kind of like, wow, I wish I didn't ask that. Next up, Mary confronts Dominic about his attitude, and he tells her that he's not looking to get in trouble and that he's overwhelmed with all of her expectations. He then says that it's going to be at least 1 year before he can marry her because of parole, and she says that she's tired of waiting. And then he tells her, well, if that's how you feel, then you can just walk away now. Mary then complains that she wants to get married and start a family, and it's just so crazy how impatient she is, considering, first of all, she's like only 28 years old, you know, like as old as she looks, she's only 28 years old. And Dom obviously doesn't have like a career or stable income or anything like that. So why rush marriage and the title of it and children when your partner literally does not have like a single candle to his name or a penny to his name quite yet? Why don't you just relax and work on getting back on your feet as a couple first, and him being comfortable before you really push these very serious, like life-altering commitments. And you guys, for those who are not familiar with Toronto, I know from watching like Money Sense and stuff like that, that you need to make at least $250,000 like as a couple in order to live like a decent average life as a family of 4. So Mary and this guy are definitely not in that bracket. So why she is so, you know, headstrong about it is absolutely beyond me. I just do not get it. And moving right along, on the way back to the car, they get into a big fight about him not helping her up the stairs and giving her flowers and doing other romantic things for her. And Dom was actually really mean to her throughout the scene, and he kind of finishes it out by saying, I would do nice things for you if you would just shut the F up and stop being such like you know, a massive bitch. And it was like, that is no way to talk to someone who held you down while you were in jail, because I presume your family and your friends long left you, and this girl is still here. You can at least treat her with like basic respect, no? Meanwhile, in James's neck of the woods, he takes a strung out Alla to a restaurant for dinner, and she claims that 10 people told her that day alone that she could be pregnant. You guys, it's just so crazy to think that this man is already shooting up her club and he hardly even knows her. Alla seems to be getting worse. Like, her sentence structure is just getting worse and worse as the scenes roll by. And then, you know, she's still talking about how she could potentially be pregnant, and then she brings up the fact that she wants to meet his family before delivering his hypothetical child. And James just has a really patronizing way of looking at her. Like, there's no way in hell that this intelligent man believes this woman is sober, and like, I think it shows in the way that he looks at her. He just looks so patronizing and condescending. He looks at her the way that like a father who's frustrated with his idiotic daughter would look at her. Now, in the middle of talking about her, you know, potentially being pregnant, Alla claims that she's been experiencing hot flashes and heads off to to the bathroom to take the test, you know, which in my opinion was actually her heading off to shoot up some more of that liquid poison. Anyway, she returns in a change of clothes and refuses to talk about the pregnancy result. James then asked her a couple of times what the result was, and she just keeps like delaying it and being like, well, why are you in such a hurry? Do you not want me to have your child? Like, what's going on? Would it suck for me to be your baby mama? And like just stuff like that. And she just talks like that, and her eyes are all like googly. And it's so crazy how she won't just give him the results. And so he finally asked her again, what did the test say? And she finally goes, oh, it was negative. Well, was that so damn hard? And that's, I'm pretty sure, is what James said too. And she just was so bizarre and annoying and weird. It was just, cringe city all the way around. Guys, I can't believe we rarely see much of Scott. I mean, it makes sense considering Lizzie's not out, but anyway, he makes a brief appearance this episode towards the end where he goes to Lizzie's lawyer, who it turns out that he pays for, of course, and he reveals to him that the reason that Lizzie can't get out of jail quite yet is because she was caught with heroin, meth, and a cell phone. This dumbass literally admits that he's been buying her cell phones every 6 months or so. Like, is there really no security in that prison? She is out there taking nudes in her cell and walking around with a cell phone. Crazy. The lawyer then reveals to Scott that Lizzie is facing up to 12 years, and he feels guilty as all hell considering he is her supplier of cell phones and probably the money that she is getting this heroin and meth with. And last but not least, in the final scene of the episode, guys, is there a reason why Johnna's dog is always in a damn crate? What a miserable existence. Anyway, she and her friends go out for her birthday drinking cheap wine on some kind of a patio. I'm a massive wine snob, you guys. And Garrett presents her with a gift, which is a chocolate covered strawberry, but because it was so hot out there and it wasn't refrigerated, it melted and she bitched about it. And then he then gives her an even bigger box, which leads to a medium box, which leads to a small box, which leads to an extra small box. And you know where this is going, because at the very end he proposes to her with the ring, and she is absolutely ecstatic. And she also jokes about how big of a bitch she had been to him the entire day and how she kind of felt bad for it, considering she finally got her proposal from him, and they all kind of celebrate, and the episode ends there. Now, you guys, what did you think of the 5th episode of Love After Lockup? I'm so excited to hear what you have to say, so please leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and as usual, we'll chat. You can also like this video, subscribe for more. Feel free to share it with your friends as well, and follow me across social media where I absolutely love chatting with you. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.